Now listen, as Drake's latest meltdown has been all about the failure of fatherhood, and well, he's also tried to convince us that one of his biggest rivals ever, well, has the same weird allegations and cases that he does, the Drake stans are not gonna like this when I expose the truth and when I go into just how rotten, disgusting, and awful the games Drake tried to play this weekend have been. So before we go any further, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and really, as they are not gonna like it, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and well, get ready, say it with me, and without further ado, now when it comes to Drake! Man, as the never-ending beefs and chaos of Drake has just continued, and this time around, well, he is both destroying and embarrassing his own name while at the same time starting another chapter of his never-ending feud with Pusha T. But this time around, instead of rapping, he is relying on those keyboard Karen antics? Well, listen, Drake asked for this, and it's only because of his doing, but this is about to be a messy one. So once again, I just have to say, really make sure to leave a like so no matter what, the Drake stans can't get away with their games of just trying to cover up the reality of what's going on here with their sheer and utter lies. Which now, when it comes to lies, chaos, and delusion, that's really all the Drake brand has been recently, and that's all Drake has been doing is he has really shown, well, to keep using clips and Pusha T and their work as a reference point, as Kendrick Lamar said on their song Chains and Whiffs, well, that he has been sent back to the cosmic. And so listen, I took a little time off to enjoy the outside world, and you know, when I opened up my phone to see what was going on in hip-hop and to see what I missed, well, this is seemingly what I walked in on, and not just because of the never-ending multi-day meltdown that Drake is continuing to have within the public eye, and it's only getting more and more embarrassing. But beyond that, it seems like the entire Drake sphere of losers, crash outs, liars, and criers, well, they have all managed to get mad and galvanize around something that I just think is so weird and really just shows how we are in an era where any sort of nuance is gone, and honestly, for even the talented people and even for the people who do the right things, you can't even try to have fun anymore because people just don't get anything and they really are going to run with what they want to run with. And so speaking of running with what you want to run with, well, this is exactly what Drake and his buddies have done in a way that honestly, to me, when I look at it, just reveals new levels of why Drake is the sad, lonely, and pathetic person that he is, and well, why his fans follow him around the way they do, which is seemingly because they are the very thing that, well, he just is, which is just a cornball loser. And so, well, the reason why all of this has happened is not just because of Drake's own doing, but because one of the biggest rivals that Drake has ever had, and if you really break it down, the second biggest person that he has ever been in a real head-to-head and back and forth with, aside from Kendrick Lamar, and of course none other than Terrence Thornton in Pusha T. Well, Pusha T has gotten the internet riled up within a way that you don't really see from a rapper these days, and not because of his music this year for once, or because of something related to the just general scope of his art and rapping career, but because he decided to share something personal, which I will just say off of that is a rarity, but it's some very good news, as what Pusha T made a post about and what he announced, well, is that he and his wife Virginia are expecting their second son, who is due in spring 2026. And just on a personal note, I want to say a big congratulations to Pusha T and his wife and family. As well, anytime you hear news like this, you can't help but say that this is just a beautiful thing. And I mean, quick side note, if you're actually a hip-hop and a music fan and you're familiar with who Pusha T is and his musical story, and well, you listen to the Let God Sort Him Out album, you would know, and as Push references in the post when he started off his caption and writing, well, he references the track All Things Considered, which of course, if you're familiar with who he is and what his actual story is on that track, to say the very least, Push reveals the difficulties and challenges that him and his wife have faced on this journey of trying to have a second child. And so, of course, with something so beautiful and also just strong for Pusha T to share, considering what he did tell us on that track, you know that there were some miserable people on one side of things, and specifically on one side of hip-hop, who anytime they see a rapper with a family doing something that is either bringing them joy or that is making the family stronger, they gotta try to rain on the parade. And like a bunch of lame old keyboard Karen losers, well, the Drake verse got to trying to make fun of Pusha T. And the reason why they did this, and this is eventually why Drake decided to jump in this thing and try to have some sort of gotcha moment considering everything that Push did with the story of Adidon, is because in the announcement post, Push said this: "Nigel, who is his son, you ask and you shall receive, but this time it was mommy who made it happen. Prayed day and night, struggled with disappointments, but she never gave up on your wishes. You are gonna owe her big time. New responsibility, new standards, and new expectations all come with being a big brother. I hope you are ready. It's time to share them toys, teach your gifts, and love on the new best friend that mommy gave you. You're gonna love it. Just look at your daddy and Uncle Mookie. What's better than that?" And well, after those inspiring words, what Push said, and this is where the loser Drake verse gets in, is what Push said to his wife Virginia. "Thank you for my second baby boy. I hope you carry on with tradition and never teach me how to change a diaper, prep a meal, suck out a snotty nose, or anything else a supermom does. You make things very easy for me, and I love and appreciate you for it all." And with that, the non-nuanced, critically thinking of verse, and just media illiterate OVO community, academics, and Drake verse, and all of those people ended up doing, well, was running around and trying to have this gotcha moment and saying that, while Pusha T said that Drake is an absent father and he is a bad father for, literally not announcing and dodging anything around Adonis until there was an Adidas campaign around it. Well, to now see Pusha T say that he does not know how to do anything in terms of taking care of his son, like changing a diaper, prepping a meal, or anything around that. They're saying now that Pusha T is an awful father, he knows nothing, and that he really is the person that he tried to make Drake out to be, which overall is trying to continue this OVO narrative of delusion, which they just believe really shows and really demonstrates that pretty much anybody who speaks out about Drake or who supports Not Like Us or any of its ideas, or maybe even slightly believes in some of the sentiments expressed on that track at the very least, well, they're all projecting, and they've actually done what they're saying Drake did, and they're the evil ones and they're the bad guys because Drake can do no wrong, as this is the OVO way, and this is the only way you can enjoy Drake in 2025, because again, if you were in reality, you would see that the music has been so bad that why would you even be a fan? But back to the point, listen, do you think somebody as nuanced, thoughtful, insightful, and articulate with all of his words, messages, and moves as Pusha T would say this as a full 100% serious statement, especially within the time we are in? Because again, if you think that, you are so wrong. And even when you just see the humor within the first paragraph, it's pretty obvious that Push is being sarcastic here, which, like, the fact that people think that Push would say this 100% seriously, that's just baffling. But now with this and with this whole moment that has been started just from the optics of how people are perceiving this, which is kind of just showing that they're lacking any nuance, everybody's gotten to doing weird things. And well, within that and within the OVO keyboard Karen warrior gotcha moment wanners, they tried to flip the gotcha moments off Drake and put them on Push, where now they are running around with these claims that, well, Pusha T met Virginia. Well, to say it within a way like I can say it here, that would be doing the very same thing that Drake did with a Millie Bobby Brown, or a Madison Beer, or a Kylie Jenner, or what was the other model's name that he waited until her birthday and took her out the day she turned, we can't say it, but you know what I'm saying? Oh, Bella Harris, that was her name. And there's like 50 other girls that Drake has done that with. And they're trying to say that Push actually met her and they started talking before, again, she was at the age where they could just have a normal bond. But again, this is easily disproven when you just do a little research and see that Pusha T was 30 when he met Virginia and she was 20. Which again, however you want to put it, these are adults, and it's not like Drake, which I know for the fans, this is hard, but however you actually want to spin it, Drake literally was finding people and waiting until their birthdays to try and have interactions with them, which I really don't even want to keep saying that here because it just feels wrong and weird, but I have no other choice, I get. And now with this gotcha moment that is predicated and built on a lie that OVO was having, well, that Cupcake Drake had to walk in and try to just sprinkle some salt on this whole thing, and we'll try and get more and more people to see the lies that have been put on Pusha T. And so what the Cupcake did here Well, now, as one of the OVO Stan accounts was trying to do anything to just make these successful and well-credited and well-respected rappers look bad like Pusha T, what they did was post this, which has some rando fans saying some rando lie where they are trying to call out the age difference in Pusha T's relationship. And well, who liked this and made sure that everybody saw that lame old cupcake Karen Poppy was looking at it and is supporting the message? Well, you can see it. It's Drake. Shocker. This guy's on social media and he's using the only thing he has left, which is that keyboard, to try and just discredit Pusha T's name or anybody's name who he is in a beef with for that matter in the only way that he can even remotely try to. And so listen, I took a day off. I'm well rested. I'm well collected. I am definitely not going to crash out this soon. But let's just break this down for a second. Drake is really trying to call out Pusha T for the age difference in his relationship and trying to put it within a way where Push looks like the version of who we have seen Drake as in reality, well, all over his own choices. And with that, it's just like one of these memes that you could see right here on the screen. Because it's like, who are you of all people to try and call out another man for how he is handling his relationship? Which, yeah, if you check the facts and check everything, it's perfectly normal. And when you're Drake and when you've literally waited for people to have that birthday to, well, rent out stadiums or do all these other weird things that you do to go on dates and try to just be the weird cupcake Karen in a way that, again, ultimately just failed and crumbled for you, well, who are you to talk about this? And again, when you see that Drake did this and people immediately responded by reminding everybody of what happened on that show in 2009, well, when he brought that person on stage that he definitely shouldn't have and knew the full consequences of what he did, but he said he liked it. And with that, and again, I talked about Madison Beer, I've talked about Kylie Jenner, I've talked about Bella Harris, and we've talked about all of these other people. It's just like Drake. When are you gonna get it? When are you just going to understand that you don't have the ground to talk on any other person's relationship, especially the guy in Pusha T, who has managed to show that he is just going to out-tactician you in any single thing that you try to do. And well, any single move that you try to make against him, it's only going to work against you in the long run. Because again, from trying to stop the Chains and Whips song from coming out with Kendrick Lamar because of all your weird label policies that you were trying to use to end Pusha T's career and really ruin him from saying anything, to the beef you had with Push itself and mentioning Virginia Williams' name, which ultimately did cause Push to release the story of Adidon and say what he did. I mean, Drake, every single time you've stepped in the booth against this guy, he has just absolutely embarrassed and humiliated you and really exposed you within a way that, well, you deserved and nobody else had. So to really just come out and even do something like this after such a personal moment for Pusha T, and again, Drake, you know that deep down inside, you used to be a Major Clips fan. You used to have a signed Pusha T mic, and you were smart enough to figure out that there is sarcasm in what Push is saying, and while that you are purposefully misleading people into thinking he is something that he is not. Well, overall, even when we think about the Not Like Us lawsuit for a second, to just see that Drake is doing the very thing that he said was done to him and that he whined about and sued about and made such a big deal about, this is why I just have no respect for this guy, because no matter what he tries to stand on and what he tries to do, he shows that he has no principles whatsoever than to absolutely be the most petty, pathetic piece of garbage ever and only try to benefit himself at whatever cost that may actually mean. And no matter what it actually means that you're doing or trying to stand on or step on. And so just with all of this and seeing Drake sit here on social media and really try to take down another man and his family after such a big moment, such a big announcement, and do it with sheer and utter lies. I mean, listen, we get it, Drake. We know that Pusha T made you feel away and he exposed what you really are, which is an awful person, an awful monster, and somebody who would use their kid only to try and push some Adidas shoes on people instead of actually being a man. But well, no matter what, that's the image that you were going to be lasted with for every single person when they think of Pusha T and when they think of you and when they think of the dynamic that you are even trying to twist here. And that's just going to last forever because you've really solidified that image. Because with every single thing that we do and every single time you are just neglecting your personal responsibilities, And again, it's not like you're working hard for music or working hard doing real meaningful things that would make sense why you're away from your family. But again, it's like you're in the club with Lil Yachty, or you're doing a stream with Aiden Ross, or you're doing something that would lead people to think that you have absolutely no responsibilities whatsoever and nobody at home waiting for you. Well, again, for Drake, this is why you are what you are, and this is why when you diss Pusha T and show the way you feel about this major moment from him and just show the way that you were trying to lie on him, it's all just a projection for your own failure and shortcomings. But listen, Drake, again, as Pusha T is a person who has out-tacticianed you at every single step of the way, and well, he has shown that, again, he is never going to step to the pathetic games that you play, and he is never going to try and run around and be something that he is not. Listen, you can try to have all the gotcha moments on him that you want, but at the end of the day, nothing's ever going to erase what we saw with the story of Adidon, and nothing is ever going to erase the ugly truth that we all saw, and that's always going to remind everybody that whether it's Not Like Us and what was said there and the actual truth and breadcrumbs that you left over the years to show that you really are a weird person and that you really do have some weird things going on, or it's the story of Adidon. Everybody just knows the real you, and with that, for everybody in reality, I know this may sound wild, but nobody's ever going to respect you. And so yeah, that's all I got. Let me know your thoughts on Drake just really trying to step to Pusha T like this and doing some absolutely awful whack and cornball stuff. And if you were Pusha T, how would you respond to Drake doing this, if anything, at this point, just in terms of seeing Drake once again, well, not just step to you as a rapper, but step to you as a man? Now listen, I can't wait to hear what you have to say about all this, and if you made it to this point in the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton, and I really can't thank you enough. And if you want to stick around with me for a little longer and see how right before this, well, Drake just got into some lawsuit for stealing music on What Did I Miss? And with this, it's showing the absolute worst for him. Check out the suggested video.